It was the annual company retreat, and Chloe's new favorite suitor was jabbing a finger in my face. You're a useless freeloader living off your wife. Who gave you permission to sit here? Get your ass over to the grill and start cooking for everyone. He puffed out his chest. And if you're not quick about it, I'll have Chloe dump you for good. I calmly stood up, wiped my hands on a napkin, and looked over at Chloe. She was laughing and chatting with a group of colleagues, pretending she hadn't seen the whole pathetic scene. I walked right up to her. This is your response? You're just going to let this happen? The smile on Chloe's face faltered for a second before snapping back into place. Her voice was laced with annoyance. Ethan, what are you doing? Can't you see I'm talking to my coworkers? She didn't even bother to look at me, her eyes still fixed on her friends. Mark was just joking with you. Why do you have to be so sensitive? Go on, get over there and help out. Don't make a scene. A joke. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. He pointed at me and called me a useless freeloader in front of your entire team. You call that a joke? Ethan, have you forgotten your place? She set her wine glass down. Mark Rollins is the new director. He's a rising star. And you? You're the nobody my father dug up from God knows where. I'll let you have a job at the company so you could learn something, not so you could embarrass me. I was shaking with anger. He screams at me in front of everyone, and I'm the one embarrassing you? Who else? She shot back, completely serious. He insults you, so you just take it. It's that simple. You're a grown man. Can't you handle a little criticism? Do you have any idea who Mark is? He's from corporate headquarters. Even my dad has to show him respect. If you make him lose face today, how am I supposed to function at work? Chloe, I'm your husband, I said, my voice trembling slightly. Husband? She scoffed. You think you deserve that title? The whispers from the surrounding crowd grew louder. Wow, look at this kept man. Thinks he can actually talk back to Ms. Young. Who does he think he is? Chloe and Mr. Rollins are the perfect match. He probably wants Chloe to stand up for him. How naive. Honestly, Chloe, your husband's ego is so fragile. Mr. Rollins just asked him to do a little work. What's the big deal for a grown man to flip a few burgers? He deserves to be yelled at. A man who mooches off his wife has no dignity. Just then, Mark swaggered over, casually slinging an arm around Chloe's shoulders without a hint of hesitation. Chloe, baby, why are you wasting your breath on this loser? If he doesn't listen, I'll teach him a lesson for you. His hand rubbed her shoulder possessively as he shot me a challenging look. Chloe didn't pull away. In fact, she leaned into him, glancing at me from the corner of her eye. Did you hear that, Ethan? Mark is doing you a favor by letting you cook. Don't be an ungrateful idiot. Why I didn't move? Mark stepped forward, poking me hard in the chest. What, are you deaf? I told you to go man the grill. Don't you understand English? He looked around with a smug grin, then announced to the crowd. I'm in a great mood today, so our Ms. Young's wonderful husband is going to personally grill for every single one of us. How about that? Yeah. The crowd erupted in jeering laughter. I took a deep breath, about to lose my temper, when Chloe's voice cut through the noise again. Ethan, go. Her tone was a final warning. Don't make me get physical. I looked up and met her ice-cold stare. Suddenly, I smiled. Fine. I'll go cook. I turned and walked toward the barbecue grill. Mark's triumphant laughter echoed behind me. That's more like it. And remember, me and Chloe want 10 thick-cut ribeyes first. Well done. If you burn a single one, you'll regret it. I didn't look back. I just picked up the tongs. I stood at the grill, flipping steaks. Thick smoke billowed up, stinging my eyes until tears streamed down my face. Behind me, I could hear the cheerful laughter of Mark, Chloe, and their friends. Chloe, look at him. What a pathetic loser. I really don't know what your father was thinking when he picked him, Mark said, his voice just loud enough for me to hear. Chloe snorted. Don't get me started. My dad's getting old and sentimental. Another female colleague chimed in with a giggle. Seriously, Chloe, you and Mr. Rollins are a power couple. This Ethan guy isn't even worthy of polishing your shoes. A grown man who just sits at home all day, living off his wife. Isn't he ashamed? Hey, don't be so harsh, Mark said with fake sincerity. He's still a man after all. We have to give him a little face. Right, Ethan, he called out, raising his voice to draw everyone's attention to me. I ignored him, focusing on the steaks in my hand. Seeing that I wasn't responding, Mark felt slighted. He strode over and kicked the grill hard. Sparks flew everywhere. A few perfectly cooked steaks tumbled onto the ground, instantly covered in dirt and grass. I'm talking to you. Are you pretending to be dead? You son of a bitch. I slowly lifted my head, my eyes locking onto his with a cold intensity. What do you want? What do I want? My glare seemed to infuriate him. He lunged forward and grabbed the collar of my shirt. I want you to learn who's in charge here. Kneel, he roared, pointing at the filthy steaks on the ground. Pick those up and eat them. The entire party went silent. Everyone was stunned by Mark's insane demand. Even Chloe frowned, looking like she thought he'd gone too far. Mark, that's enough, she said. But her words only seemed to fuel his rage. No, it's not enough, Chloe. You have to put a dog like this in his place once and for all, or he'll think he can walk all over you. He turned back to me, his face a mask of fury. Did you hear me? Kneel. Eat it. I looked him dead in the eye and said, word by word, Are you sure? Of course I'm sure. I said kneel. He never finished the sentence. I moved. I didn't go for the steaks on the ground. In a flash, I shot my hand out and grabbed the wrist of the hand holding my collar. Then, with a sharp twist, I snapped it downward. A scream, like a pig being slaughtered, ripped through the air. Arg! My hand! My hand! Mark dropped to the ground, writhing in agony as beads of sweat popped out on his forehead. Everyone was frozen in shock. No one could believe that me, the guy they all saw as a pathetic doormat, would ever fight back with such brutality. Ethan, what do you think you're doing? Are you insane? Chloe ran up to me, her pretty face twisted with rage. How dare you attack Mark? Do you have any idea who he is? I met her gaze coolly. Edo, he's the guy trying to sleep with my wife. You. Chloe was so furious, she raised her hand to slap me. I didn't flinch. I just stared at her coldly. Her hand stopped in midair. Don't think I'm afraid of you, just because you've lost your mind, she yelled. I'm telling you, Mark's uncle is a major shareholder in the company. You've made an enemy of him, which means you've made an enemy of half the board. Now, you will get on your knees and apologize to Mark. You will beg him to forgive you. If you don't, I'll have you thrown out of my family for good. I let out a small, humorless laugh. Apologize? Chloe, did you forget? He started this. He's the one who told me to kneel and eat garbage off the ground. So what? She shrieked. Look at his position. Look at yours. He told you to eat it because he was paying attention to you. You should be grateful, but instead you fight back. Her gangster logic left me speechless. I turned away, done talking to her. Just then, Mark, recovering from the initial shock of pain, shot a look at a few of his buddies. They got the message immediately and moved to surround me, their intentions clear. You son of a bitch, you actually hit me. Mark snarled, cradling his broken wrist. I'm laying it out for you right here, right now. If you get on your knees, bark like a dog 3 times and crawl between my legs, I'll let this go. Otherwise, he said, his face contorted in a vicious grin, I'll break both your legs and you can spend the rest of your life being a freeloader in a wheelchair. Mark, I suggest you think very carefully about the consequences of what you're about to do, I said calmly. Consequences? Mark laughed as if it were the funniest joke he'd ever heard. What consequences could come from a loser like you? Let me tell you something. Even if I beat you to death right here, nothing would happen to me. I was done wasting words. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number. It was answered on the first ring. Sir, a calm, professional voice said on the other end. Wallace, come pick me up, I said quietly. And then notified David Young, the chairman of the Young Corporation. Tell him the final beneficiary clause on the acquisition deal needs to be amended. You dare make a phone call? Mark lunged forward, snatched the phone out of my hand, and hung up without a second thought. He threw on the ground. You useless piece of trash. I tell you to kneel, and you call for backup? Who are you going to call? Your broke relatives. The cronies around me burst into another round of ugly laughter. This is hilarious. Who could he possibly call? His cousin from the trailer park? I'll count to 3. Mark said his patience gone. If you're not on your knees by then, don't blame me for what happens next. 1, 2. Everyone stared at me, waiting for me to break. I stood perfectly still. 3. Seeing my refusal, Mark roared, All right, you asked for this. He lunged, his huge hand reaching for my collar again. This time, I didn't move a muscle. Just as his fingers were about to touch me, a hand shot out from the side, clamping down on Mark's wrist like a vice. Director Rollins, you seem a little agitated. A middle-aged man in a perfectly tailored suit had appeared by my side. It was my driver and personal assistant, Mr. Wallace. Mark froze when he saw him. Who the hell are you? You have a death wish getting in my business. He tried to pull his arm back, but the man's grip was like steel. Wallace tightened his hold. Mark winced, sweat beading on his forehead. Let go. Do you know who I am? Of course I know you're Director Rollins, Wallace said in a measured tone. I also know that you're new to your position and your footing isn't very stable. It would be wise to keep a lower profile. Mark looked at Wallace with a mixture of confusion and suspicion. A driver with this kind of presence and nerve? Chloe stepped forward. Who are you? What are you doing here? Wallace released Mark and turned to Chloe. Ms. Young, good evening. I am Mr. Vance's driver. I'm here to take him home. Driver? The words seemed to make everyone in the crowd breathe a collective sigh of relief. Mark's bravado instantly returned. A damn chauffeur dares to lecture me. Do you want to be blacklisted from ever working in this city again? I have no doubt you have that power, Director Rollins, Wallace said with a nod. However, before you do that, you might want to consider your own situation. Without another word to Mark, he turned to me and respectfully handed me a folder. Sir, the documents you requested. I took the folder and casually flipped through it. It contained the Young Corporation's latest financial statements and a draft of an equity transfer agreement. Mark saw the words Young Corporation on the letterhead, and his expression changed. A freeloader's driver was delivering internal corporate documents to him. That was impossible. What is this, a magic show? Mark sneered. You think you can scare me with some fake documents? I'm not a child. He turned to Chloe, his voice dripping with condescension. Chloe, don't fall for his act. I've seen guys like him before. They have no real power, so they pull these cheap stunts to save face. Chloe's expression was a whirlwind of emotions. Ethan, she said, taking a deep breath, let's just go home and talk about this. Don't. No need. I cut her off, holding the folder out for her to see. I think it's better to clear the air right now. I pointed to a line in the draft agreement, speaking each word with deliberate clarity. Once this agreement is signed, as of today, you, Mark Rollins, and every single one of you, I paused, my eyes sweeping over the stunned faces in the crowd, will be fired from the Young Corporation. Or, I added, looking at them all, you can get on your knees and apologize to me. Right now, everyone stared at me, dumbfounded. A man who lived off his wife was threatening to fire a corporate director and all his colleagues, and demanding they kneel and apologize. A tsunami of laughter erupted from the crowd. Did I hear him right? Has he completely lost his mind? Did he get kicked in the head by a mule? Telling us to kneel? Who does he think he is, the president? Chloe, did the stress finally break your husband? Maybe you should get him to a hospital. Mark was laughing so hard he was crying. He pointed at me, gasping for air. Look at him. He's not just useless, he's a lunatic. Chloe's face was a thundercloud. She stormed over, snatched the documents from my hand, and ripped them to shreds without a second thought. Ethan, have you not caused enough trouble? She screamed hysterically. Are you trying to ruin my life? I'm telling you, we are done. I'm going to my father tomorrow and telling him I want a divorce. I can't stand you for one more day. Just then, a cell phone rang shrilly. It was Mark's. He glanced at the caller ID, and his arrogant smirk instantly melted into a fawning grin. Hello, Mr. Chairman. To what do I owe the pleasure? On the other end of the line, David Young's furious roar was so loud everyone could hear it. Mark, are you out of your goddamn mind? What did you do to Mr. Vance? The smile froze on Mark's face. Mr. Chairman, what Mr. Vance are you talking about? What other Mr. Vance is there? I'm asking you, are you at the company retreat right now, causing trouble for Ethan Vance? Mr. Chairman, you don't understand. Ethan was being disrespectful to Chloe, and he even got violent with a colleague. I just asked him to kneel and apologize. Don't worry, I have it under control. I won't let things get out of hand, Mark explained obsequiously. You idiot. What have you done? You dared to make Mr. Vance kneel? Who the hell do you think you are? Mark's heart sank. A terrible feeling washed over him. Mr. Chairman, you've misunderstood. I was just joking with Ethan, he stammered. A joke? It looks to me like you want to drag my entire family down with you. David Young's voice was trembling with rage. Mark, I'm ordering you to get on your knees and apologize to Mr. Vance right now. Beg him to forgive you. Otherwise, God himself can't save you. Beep, beep, beep. The line went dead. Mark stood frozen, his phone still held to his ear. The nearby colleagues, who had overheard the shouting, just looked at each other in utter confusion. Well, it looks like Chairman Young has made his choice, I said, turning to Mark. So, Director Rollins, are you still planning on breaking my legs? Mark shuddered, snapping back to reality. No. Of course not. Mr. Vance. I was just kidding. Yes, just a joke. He forced a smile that was uglier than a grimace. How could I ever dare to hurt you? Really? I raised an eyebrow, because I distinctly heard you say you were going to make me bark like a dog and crawl between your legs. Mark's face turned the color of a ripe plum. I was drunk. I was talking nonsense. Please, don't take it seriously. With a loud thump, he dropped to his knees in front of me. Mr. Vance, I was blind. I'm not human. You're a bigger man than me. Please, just let me go. Treat me like I'm nothing. As he spoke, he raised his hand and slapped himself hard across the face twice. I said nothing, just watched him coldly. Mr. Vance, please, just forgive me this one time. Seeing that I remained silent, Mark grabbed my leg, sobbing hysterically. It was all my fault. I was a blind fool. Punish me however you want. Just please. Please don't fire me. Fire you. I laughed. I already told you my terms. All of you are getting out. My gaze swept over the colleagues who had been mocking me moments ago. When my eyes met theirs, they quickly looked down in terror. No. Please, Mr. Vance. We were wrong. We'll never do it again. Please have mercy. We have families to feed. A chorus of begging and pleading filled the air. I ignored them and looked at Chloe. And you? Are you going to beg me for forgiveness too? Ethan, don't push your luck. Have you forgotten who's been supporting you these past few years? Chloe's face flushed with anger. These people are veteran employees of this company. You can't just fire them. Your family's company is now my company. So tell me, can I fire them or not? I asked calmly. Chloe shook her head frantically. Impossible. That's absolutely impossible. You're lying. If you don't believe me, you can call your father and ask. As soon as I finished speaking, the roar of a car engine grew louder. Several black Mercedes sedans screeched to a halt at the resort entrance. A car door flew open, and a gray-haired, slightly overweight middle-aged man tumbled out. It was the chairman of the Young Corporation, David Young. Without even bothering to straighten his disheveled suit, he sprinted towards me, panting. Mr. Vance. He started to bow deeply, but my assistant, Wallace, discreetly stopped him. Mr. Young, my boss dislikes such formalities. David straightened up, his forehead covered in sweat. He glanced at Mark kneeling on the ground, then at the terrified employees, and finally, his gaze landed on his own daughter. In that instant, he understood everything. Crack! The sharp sound of a slap echoed through the quiet clearing. David Young had struck his daughter, Chloe, across the face with all his strength. You foolish girl, he yelled, pointing a trembling finger at her. I told you again and again to treat Mr. Vance with the utmost respect. Is this how you listen to me? Do you have any idea what you've done? You almost destroyed our entire family. Chloe stumbled back, clutching her stinging cheek, completely stunned. In her entire life, her father had never laid a finger on her. Dad, you hit me. Tears welled up in her eyes, her voice full of disbelief. You hit me for an outsider? All I did was tell him to apologize to Director Rollins. What's the big deal? He's the one who hit Mark. I spoke before David Young could. Was that an apology? Or was it an attempt to strip a man of his dignity? Besides, I am your legal husband, and you were flirting with another man right in front of me. You're just a freeloader, a loser. Only my dad would ever see anything in you. And now you're getting arrogant, she spat back. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have even been allowed through the gates of this resort. And now you're putting on this act. Crack! David slapped her again. Shut your mouth. Not another word. David looked like he was about to have a stroke. He is the master of the Young family now. He is the one who signs all of our paychecks. How could he be the master of the family, Dad? Chloe tried to argue again. If you say one more word, I will personally ruin you, David hissed, cutting her off before turning back to me. Mr. Vance, it was my failure as a father. I am so sorry for the humiliation you've endured. This Mark Rollins and this whole pack of blind idiots, I'll have them thrown out immediately. I guarantee, from this day forward, none of them will ever appear before you again." Hearing this, Mark, who was still kneeling on the ground, went limp and collapsed. "No, Mr. Chairman, please. I've worked so hard for this company. I've given everything." "Shut up," David roared. "You offended Mr. Vance, and that makes you the greatest enemy of the Young family. Get out." A couple of security guards immediately came forward and dragged a screaming Mark away. The rest of the colleagues, their faces ashen, remained kneeling. "Mr. Chairman, Mark made us do it. Please give us another chance." "Ethan, no. Mr. Vance, we were wrong. You're a bigger person than us." But it was too late. One by one, they were escorted off the premises by security. In a matter of minutes, the once lively party area was nearly empty. "Mr. Vance," David said again, his voice trembling, "are you satisfied with how this has been handled?" I didn't answer him. Instead, I walked over to Chloe. "So, do you still want to divorce me?" Chloe looked up, her eyes a storm of conflicting emotions. "No, answer? I'll take that as a yes." I turned to face David Young. "Have your legal team contact me. I want to see a divorce agreement first thing tomorrow morning." David's entire body shook, and the color drained from his face. Mr. Vance, please, you can't do this." He was so panicked he lunged forward, grabbing my arm despite Wallace's attempt to block him. Chloe was just confused. She knows she was wrong. "Please, just give her one more chance. Our family, the Young family, can't survive without you." I gently removed his hand from my arm. "Mr. Young, you should be grateful that I'm not pressing charges against your daughter for conspiring with an outsider to publicly humiliate her husband. As for chances," I paused. "I gave her plenty. She's the one who threw them away." "No, I don't want a divorce." The reality of the situation finally crashed down on Chloe. She threw herself at my feet, clinging to my leg. "Ethan, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong." She looked up at me, her face streaked with tears. "Please don't divorce me, okay? I'll listen to you from now on. I'll do anything you ask. You love me, don't you? You went through all that trouble to marry me because you love me, right? You can't just throw me away." Her words were almost laughable. I married her because I needed a legitimate identity to get inside the Young Corporation's inner workings, allowing me to finalize my acquisition of the entire industry supply chain. "Let go," I said, my voice like ice. "I won't." Chloe clung to me even tighter. "Not unless you promise you won't divorce me." David Young stood nearby, sweating profusely, but didn't dare intervene. "Mr. Vance, you see, Chloe is truly remorseful. As long as you don't get a divorce, everything else is negotiable." "Oh, then please tell me, what else could the Young family possibly have left to negotiate with?" I asked, looking directly at David. He fell silent. I looked back down at Chloe. "If you don't let go now, don't think I won't get rough with you." My voice dropped, taking on a dangerous edge. Chloe's hands, clutching my leg, involuntarily loosened their grip. I took a step back, creating distance between us. "Wallace, let's go." "Yes, sir." "Mr. Young, regarding the divorce papers, my lawyers will be at your office tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. sharp." Defeated, David Young turned and shuffled heavily toward his car. As he passed his daughter, still crumpled on the ground, his anger boiled over one last time. "Chloe, why couldn't you just listen to me? Why did you have to be so stupid?" He was shaking with rage. "The perfect marriage I arranged for you. You just had to ruin it. From now on, you're on your own." The next day, I didn't go to the office. Wallace handled the entire divorce proceeding. David Young was smart enough not to raise any objections, signing all the documents with record speed. As of that day, Chloe and I were no longer connected in any way. That afternoon, Wallace brought the finalized papers to my penthouse apartment. It was my first time setting foot in the place, which had a panoramic view of the entire city skyline. "Sir, it's all taken care of," Wallace said, placing the folder on the coffee table. "Also, the board of directors of the Young Corporation would like to invite you to an emergency meeting tomorrow." "Understood," I nodded, dismissing him. The next day, I attended the emergency board meeting at the Young Corporation. When I walked into the conference room and was introduced as the founder of Apex Capital, the entire room was stunned into silence. I didn't waste time with pleasantries. I immediately announced 2 appointments. First, my assistant, Mr. Wallace, full name William Wallace, would officially take over as the new CEO of the young corporation. Second, I was promoting a young woman named Sarah Lee to the position of marketing director. Sarah was the only person at the company retreat who hadn't mocked me. She had even quietly passed me a bottle of water when no one was looking. When she heard her name, she looked completely bewildered, only snapping out of it when a colleague nudged her. She looked at me, her eyes wide with disbelief. I gave her a slight, encouraging nod. A person who shows kindness to the powerless in their moment of weakness is a person of good character, regardless of their resume. After the meeting, I left the building. As I walked out the main entrance, I saw a familiar figure waiting by the curb. It was Chloe. She saw me and hurried over, but stopped about 10 feet away, not daring to come any closer. Ethan. I didn't break my stride, walking past her as if she were invisible. Ethan, she cried out behind me. I don't want a divorce. I love you. I really do love you. I know I was wrong. Please, just give me one more chance. Let's start over. I stopped and looked at her, a mocking smile on my face. You love me. Chloe, stop acting. It's not just pathetic, it's exhausting to watch. Before, you thought you needed a husband from a prominent family, someone you could show off to your friends. That's why you look down on me. Now, you know who I am, and you've decided you need power and wealth. So you come back, begging. But you've never once stopped to ask yourself, if you strip away all the external things, who is it that you actually love? With that, I turned to leave. Ethan, you can't go. Chloe scrambled up from the ground like a madwoman, spreading her arms to block my path. You took my job away. My father left the company. How am I supposed to live? You're trying to kill me, she shrieked. Looking at her distorted, desperate face, the last shred of pity I might have had for her vanished completely. Kill you? Chloe, you walked yourself into this mess every step of the way. You enjoyed all the benefits I provided while simultaneously despising me and even conspiring with others to humiliate me. If you had been willing to say even one word in my defense, things wouldn't have ended up this badly for you. Have you ever considered what would have happened to me that day if I really had been just an ordinary, powerless man? She was speechless. She was right. If I had been just a regular guy, my fate would have been humiliation, a beating, and a divorce that left me with nothing. The house, the car, and every other thing I ever bought for you. My lawyer will be in touch tomorrow to repossess it all. As for how you live your life from now on, that is no longer my concern. I walked around her and got into my car. Behind me, I could hear Chloe's hopeless, desperate sobs. 9 under Wallace's iron-fisted management, the young corporation was quickly cleaned up and all its operations were back on track. As for Mark Rollins, after being fired, he tried to leverage all his connections to find a new job, only to find that the entire industry had blacklisted him. No one dared to hire someone who had offended Apex Capital. He went from being a promising director to a pariah that everyone avoided. I heard later that he racked up massive gambling debts and had his legs broken by loan sharks. He was now a cripple, begging on the streets to survive. The colleagues who had eagerly joined in on his abuse didn't fare much better. Occasionally, I get updates on Chloe from Sarah Lee's reports. Sir, I saw Ms. Young downstairs today. I think she was looking for a job, but no one would hire her. Sir, Ms. Young came by again today. Security wouldn't let her in, so she just stood outside the building all afternoon. Sir, I heard that Ms. Young started working at a nightclub. Each time, I listened calmly without comment. She had chosen her path. Now, she had to walk it. A year later, I was in my office reviewing documents when Sarah knocked and entered. After a year of experience, she had shed her initial shyness and blossomed into a confident, capable executive. Sir, here's the marketing plan for the next quarter. I took the file, glanced through it, and nodded. Good work. A happy smile spread across Sarah's face. Oh, by the way, sir, she said, as if suddenly remembering something, I'm getting married next month. Oh, I looked up surprised. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. She looked a little bashful. I was wondering. I'd like to invite you to the wedding, if you have the time. Of course. I smiled. Send me the time and place. Sarah's wedding was held at a modest hotel. There was no extravagant display of wealth, but every detail was filled with warmth. I arrived shortly before the ceremony was due to start and found a seat in a corner, hoping not to draw attention. The ceremony began, and the officiant gave a heartfelt speech. The bride and groom walked hand in hand down the aisle, their faces beaming with genuine happiness. I watched Sarah on the stage, feeling truly happy for her. Good people deserve good things.